Hi friends, welcome to Jogo Coaching. In this video, we will learn how AI can help to manage the risk in the sprints. I will be providing top 8 AI prompts that can be used by the Scrum Masters to manage the risk. Let's get into the details now. We will cover two different topics in this video. The first one is AI for risk management. And the second part is top 8 AI prompts for risk management. So we will learn how AI can help to identify, analyze, and predict the risk, AI-powered risk assessment and prioritization, mitigation strategy using AI insights, improve sprint predictability and delivery confidence. And the benefits of using AI for risk management is we will identify the risk in the early phases of the project, and it will give a proactive decision-making suggestion, and we can deliver the best sprint outcome, and also we reduce the surprises due to the risk at the last minute, and we can build the higher stakeholder risk. The 8 prompts covered in this videos are identifying potential sprint risk, analyze the risk impact and likelihood, prioritize top risk from the list identified from the sprint, suggesting mitigation strategies, how to monitor the risk indicators, predict sprint delay probability due to the risk, generate risk communication plan, and retrospective risk insights. So these 8 prompts will cover these areas in this video. This video is ideal for the Scrum Masters to manage the risk and Agile teams who can identify the risk proactively and deliver the value. And also this video will be useful for the project managers to make a data-driven decisions and improve the outcomes. AI transform the risk management from reactive approach to predictive then preventive. So this will enable to remove the impediments and the risk proactively so that this will reduce the impact on the sprint goal delivery. So hope the topics listed in this video is clear to you, and I will be adding all the prompts in a Excel sheet so that you can download. The downloadable link will be available in the description and the comment section. Now let's get into the details now. First, let's understand AI for risk management. Traditional risk management, we will identify the risk manually. The we means Scrum Masters or project managers. Sometimes the technical team will identify the risk manually, and it will be reactive approach. Most of the time, we will come to know that so this will be happening because of some reason. So everything we will do whenever we are going to work on the task or the stories. Usually it will take time consuming because we need to have people to discuss and collect so many related data related to risk to analyze it. So it will be a time consuming task, and this will be depending on the team's experience. If you have the less experienced people and managing the risk, identifying the risk will take more time. If you have experienced people in terms of technology as well as in terms of the project, then risk identification will be very easy and quick. So these are the steps we followed in the traditional risk management. When it comes to AI-powered risk management, we will detect the risk using the historical sprint data. So we can input the sprint data, the past data and current data. AI will predict and suggest the risk that can happen in the project. And it will predict risk before they occur. So it will work proactively. The AI will work proactively and predict these are the things can come as a risk based on the past data as well as with the current sprint details. And it will automate the risk insights and the recommendation. So AI itself will give in which way we can predict the risk, what are the recommendation we can consider to address the risk. So AI will provide that. And we can learn from the previous project patterns. Since we are going to input the large amount of data from the past, AI can take that patterns and suggest that these are the things happen. So this may happen in the future. So please work on it. So this is how the AI powered risk management will have the huge impact on the project delivery. Hope this is clear. Next, let us understand in what areas the AI can predict the risk and what tools we can use. So sprint delay probability. If you are noticing that the sprint may delay, then AI can predict and say that this may delay or the sprint may not be delaying. And if it is delaying, then these are all the recommendations. So sprint delay probability the AI can predict. The second one is team capacity overload. So if you provide the user stories or the task assigned to the team and the input T capacity sheet, and the AI can predict whether the team will be overloaded or not based on the sprint commitment, sprint goal with the comparison of the capacity. Increase the defect leakage. So if we are seeing that lots of defects captured in during the sprint, then AI can predict will it lead to defect leakage to the production or not. Velocity decline trends. So AI can predict will this velocity end if we are not having a small user stories, our team is not able to commit or deliver the commitment. So all those information will be studied and AI can predict whether the velocity will be declining trend or not. And AI can predict whether the dependency related delays will be there in the sprint or not, okay, when we input the project data and the current status. And AI will list out the blocker user stories if you have more dependencies with the other user stories, or if you identify some blockers or blocked by status that is mentioned in the tools. And high risk blocking items also will be identified by the AI. And the delivery deadline risk, if you are seeing any risk for the delivery in terms of release or sprint review, and AI can predict. So for all these things, we need to ensure that we are giving the right prompt and we are giving the right input data. Okay, so based on that only AI can predict. So we will understand those prompts in the coming slides. What are the tools can be used by the Scrum Master? See, the tool should be recommended by the organization or procured by the organization, but these are all the tools. You can also try any one of these tools: ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Jira AI, Atlassian Intelligence, Azure DevOps AI features, GitHub Copilot Analytics, Power BI with the AI Insights. So you can use any of these tools that is recommended in your organization. For your learning purpose, you can use any of the free tools like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot. So hope this is clear. Now let's get into the details. Now let us understand the top 8 AI prompts that can be used for the risk management. The first prompt is identifying the sprint risk. So this is the format of the sample prompt. Act as an experienced Scrum Master, Agile Delivery Manager and Risk Management Consultant. So we need to tell what role the AI has to play. So but this is the first section. Then we are going to tell what the AI needs to do. Analyze the provided sprint backlog and identify all potential delivery risk across technical, resource, dependency, scope, quality and agile process categories. So the risk can be anything. Okay, this can be related to technical risk, resource risk, dependency risk, etc. So we are going to mention that analyze and identify risk in all these categories. The third one is evaluate each backlog item for complexity, estimation accuracy, skill availability, external dependencies, testing effort, integration challenges, architectural concerns, production support impacts, and sprint goal alignment. So it will analyze each backlog item for this. For that, we need to provide all the information or give access to the tool so that the past data will be pulled by the AI. The fourth step is assess the probability and business impact of every identified risk, calculate an overall risk rating, and rank the risk from highest to lowest priority, recommend preventive actions, mitigation strategy, a contingency plan, and the appropriate owner for each risk. So now this AI will identify all the risk and prioritize the risk and provide the preventive actions and also mitigation strategy and suggest the owner for this risk. So this is the fourth step we are asking AI to do. The fifth one is present the result in a structured risk register, including risk ID, risk category, risk description, affected user story, probability, impact, severity. This can be low, medium, high, risk score, mitigation actions, owner, escalation required. So we are going to create the risk register which has all this information, and all the risk details will be filled in the risk register, followed by an executive summary highlighting the top 5 critical sprint risks and overall sprint delivery confidence. So AI will create all this report, and we can mention do we need an Excel format or PPT format. So when you put this in the prompt and input all the project details like your current sprint status, backlog, burn down chart, and all the past data, Then AI will run and provide the excellent result that you can use to identify and validate the sprint risk and work on it. So this is the first AI prompt that will help to identify the sprint risk. Hope this is clear. Now let us get into the next prompt. So the next prompt is to create a sprint risk register. So here the prompt what we will be giving is act as an experienced Scrum Master, Agile Project Manager and Risk Management Consultant. Analyze the sprint backlog, sprint goal, team capacity, dependencies, technical complexity, delivery constraints to identify all potential sprint risk, include risk related to technical implementation, resource, scope change, quality, testing, external dependencies, and agile process. So we are going to ask the AI to analyze the sprint backlog and sprint goal and capacity to identify all the risks. The third step is evaluate each risk for its potential impact and probability, then prioritize it based on overall risk severity. So we are going to prioritize the risk, then generate the comprehensive sprint risk register with the column. So the risk register will be created and recommend practical actions to reduce and eliminate each risk and highlight the top 5 critical risks that require immediate attention before, during the sprint. So this will give top 5 critical risk in the risk register format so that we can work on it. So this is the second prompt that can be used by the Scrum Masters to create the risk register automatically based on the AI tool prompt. Hope this is clear. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and click the bell icon to get notification about new videos. Now let's continue with our learning. The third prompt is for risk assessment. So now we have a risk and we have a priority. We want to do an assessment. So for that, this prompt can be run. Act as an experienced Scrum Master, Agile Project Manager and Risk Management Consultant. Analyze all identified sprint risk related to technical implementation, resource dependency, etc. Assess the likelihood, the probability and business impact of each risk using the high, medium, low risk matrix, considering delivery timeline, customer value, sprint goal achievement, team productivity, release quality. Classify each risk into overall risk severity and based on its probability and impact. So we are going to assess the severity and also calculate this probability and the impact. Based on the severity, we will prioritize, because if it is a high severity risk, we need to act immediately. So this assessment will be done for all the risk identified during the sprint. Provide a brief justification for every rating and recommend preventive actions, mitigation strategy, contingency plan. So it will order based on the severity, and AI will give the just rating and the recommendation. Present the result in a structured table with risk ID, risk description, probability, business impact, risk severity, etc. And so that we can take the top 5 high risk items that is prioritized based on the severity, and we can work on it. So if we have 20 risk and this AI prompt will give high severity risk based on the probability and the impacts that is calculated based on the data provided. So this is the third prompt you can use to assess the risk in the overall sprint. Hope this is clear and helpful. So consider now you have a risk and you have identified some mitigation plan and strategy, but you can validate it with the AI prompt. So this prompt will help you to identify the risk mitigation plan or the strategy. The prompt is, so always we will tell this act as an experienced Scrum Master. This should be the first line. Now we are going to ask the AI to do these activities. Analyze each identified sprint risk and recommend practical mitigation strategies based on Agile and Scrum best practices. So Agile Scrum best practices will be considered by the AI. Based on that, the recommendations will be given for the mitigation strategies. Consider risk categories such as technical complexity, resource constraints. So these are all the categories always we will mention, because risk can happen in any of these categories. For every risk, suggest preventive actions to reduce the likelihood of the occurrence and mitigation actions to minimize business impact and contingency plan if the risk is materialized. So the main thing is we want to reduce the likelihood of the occurrence. So if we reduce the likelihood of the occurrence, the risk won't happen. So this is the main thing. AI will do that. The next is recommend the appropriate risk owner, expected completion timeline, and agile ceremonies. So when we want to address and in which event where the risk should be monitored or addressed. So some risk should be monitored on daily basis. Some risk should be focused on monitoring during the sprint planning meeting. So the AI will suggest when you need to monitor to reduce the likelihood. Present the output in a structured table with the risk ID, risk description. This is the risk register format, and followed by the top 5 immediate actions to improve sprint delivery success. So this will give top 5 immediate actions that we need to take to mitigate this risk. So this is another prompt the Scrum Master can use to mitigate the risk or plan the mitigation strategy. Hope this is clear. The fifth prompt is to review the technical risks and taking mitigation actions. For this prompt, we need to put the technical role as the persona. So here act as a senior solution architect and agile technical coach. So instead of Scrum Master, we are asking AI to act as a technical person. And what task the AI has to do is review the sprint backlog for technical risk, including architecture complexity, integration dependency, technical debt, performance, security, testing, and infrastructure readiness. So these are all the pure technical assessment we will be doing to identify the technical risk. Identify high risk user stories, hidden dependencies, and implementation challenges that may delay delivery. So this is the activity the AI will identify the high risk user stories, etc. Then evaluate the likelihood and impact of each technical risk on the sprint and release. So the likelihood and the impact will be mentioned for each of the risk. Then recommend preventive actions, contingency plan, and the technical spikes wherever it's appropriate. So technical spikes will be used to analyze and prevent the risk. So AI will give the recommendation. The last ask is present the result in a structured risk register with the severity, probability, mitigation, and ownership. So if you run this script or the prompt with all the input data from your current sprint, then AI will give the complete list of technical risk and it will give the severity and probability and the mitigation strategy. So hope this is helpful. The sixth prompt that we can use to manage the risk is scope change risk analysis. Whenever we see a scope is changed in the project and there will be a risk for delivering the work. And by inputting the data, we can identify what are the risks we may face or we need to address due to this scope change. And here the prompt is act as an agile project manager and scrum master. Evaluate the impact of new requirements or scope changes on the current sprint by considering sprint goal, remaining capacity, story priorities, dependencies, and the delivery commitments. So here we need to input all these details. What scope is changed, what is the estimation of the story, what is the current sprint goal, how much capacity we planned, how much capacity we have now, what are the stories we already have with the priorities and dependencies. So you need to input all this data to evaluate so that AI will read everything and consider for the results. Now the third ask is determine whether the requested change should be accepted, deferred, split or rejected based on the agile best practices. So based on the agile best practices and also the current status, AI will read everything and identify what would be the recommendation. Assess the effect on schedule, quality, testing effort and sprint predictability. So if you are accepting it, then what would be the impact on schedule quality? Then AI will give that result. Recommend the best decision with supporting rationale and mitigation strategy. So if we will have multiple options, accepted, deferred, split or rejected, and AI will give the best decision with the data, supporting data, so that we can use or present to the stakeholders and decide the best one. And the last ask is summarize the analysis in the risk assessment table, including impact, priority, recommendation, and business justification. So we will get the summary, report summary that we can use it for the discussion to take a decision. So the risk analysis will be done by the AI if there is any scope change done. So this will be the great prompt that can be used by the Scrum Master to take a informed and data-driven decision. Hope this is helpful. I have enabled membership in this channel. Feel free to explore and subscribe for this membership. You will be getting membership specific videos, membership specific charts that won't be available for other people, and you will get early access for all the videos a few days in advance, and you will be getting priority replay for all your comments, and you will be getting the loyalty badge, so that will showcase you in our live chat. So feel free to explore and join the membership. That will give more advantage to learn many things and watch so many videos that is not available for other people. Thanks for your support. The seventh prompt that can be used for the risk management is blocker impact analysis. If you are identifying any blocker issues or risk, and the impact can be analyzed and the recommendation will be given by the AA. So for this comment, we will put this persona as act as an agile delivery manager and a program risk consultant. Analyze all current blockers affecting the sprint, including technical issue, environment problem, approvals, external dependencies, and resource constraints. So we will input all this information in the tools or in Excel. We will input everything: risk register, dependency tracker, access to all the tracking tools like Jira, or we will put the dump on Jira data for the current sprint. So everything we will give it to AI so that AI will analyze. Then after the analysis, we are asking the AI to determine the root cause, business impact, delivery impact, and urgency of each blocker. So we are asking the AI to identify the root cause and the business impact for each blocker issue that we are inputting. Identify the blocker that threatens sprint goal achievements or require immediate escalation. So now AI will identify what are the blocker will impact the sprint goal and what are the blocker needs immediate escalation. The recommend recovery actions, alternative solution, owners, and expected solution timeline. So AI will also recommend what are the actions we can take to recover from this blocker issue, and what are the alternative solution we can find. So these things will be given by the AI. Then produce a prioritized backlog dashboard with the severity, risk score, escalation status, and next action. So AI will provide the reprioritized blocker dashboard or the complete blockers list with the priority to address. So if impact is very high, then we need to address that blocker immediately. So AI will give that list with the severity ranking. So this is the seventh prompt any project manager or scrum master can use in the sprint to manage the risk. Hope this is clear and helpful. The eighth prompt that can be used for risk management is daily risk monitoring. So here the prompt will start with act as an experienced Scrum Master conducting daily sprint risk review. So every sprint we can do the risk review. So that's what we are going to ask the AI to give the results. Analyze today's sprint progress using burn down, completed stories, blocked work items, defects, team availability, build status, and dependency updates. So we will give access for all this information to AI, or we will input all this information to AI. Then we are asking the AI to identify new or emerging risks that may affect sprint goal achievement within the next few days, evaluate overall sprint health, delivery confidence, and the likelihood of meeting sprint commitments. So we are going to ask AI to identify all these risks. Then recommend preventive actions, escalation items, and the immediate priorities for the team. So AI will give preventive actions for all the risks, and also escalation item if anything is beyond the control, and we will give the priority of the risk that we need to work in that order. Present the output as a daily risk dashboard showing sprint health, top risk, action owners, and recommend the next step. So risk dashboard will be created by the AI so that we can see what are the top risks, who are all the owners, and what are the recommendation or next step to address the high priority risk. So by running this prompt, and if you give all the input data from your project, then we will get an excellent dashboard to monitor and the risk and address the risk on the priority basis. Hope this is helpful, and if you like this video, click the like button and leave your comments, and you can provide your questions also. I will be happy to answer. So we'll meet in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Bye. If you are looking for any one-on-one coaching for Scrum Master role, Agile Project Manager role, Release Train Engineer role, Delivery Manager role, or Agile Coach role, please mail to this email ID mentioned in this slide, or WhatsApp to this number. I will be providing customized one-on-one coaching to prepare for this role or excel in these roles and move to next level role. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to get notification about new videos. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.